Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan M.S. Pearce. This is Ukraine war. I don't know if there's a breaking news update. I don't know how long this has been out for, but it's a development in terms of potential compromat on Donald Trump from the Russians. And it is a bit of an extension of what's previously been claimed by a chap called Alnur Musayev. If you remember, sometime back in June, I think it was June, or it may have even been before that. Well, this is June the 11th. So yeah, I reported on this, and there was an article out and lots of people talking about how Donald Trump was actually called Krasnov, and that's his code name, and lots of people have started calling Trump Krasnov, and you still do. Some of you still do this in the threads, right? So there must be some purchase for this story, and it makes some sense, at least, of the behavior of Donald Trump vis-a-vis Russia and Ukraine, being very much more aligned to Russia and not so generous to Ukraine as you think he might be. So this was from a post in June. Actually, I can't remember when it was originally released by Musayev. So did you know that Donald Trump is a Russian agent, codenamed Krasnov? The claims originate from Alnur Musayev, a former high-ranking Soviet and Kazakh intelligence official, so his former KGB agent, this chap, whose directorate is specialized in recruiting businessmen and from capitalist countries. Musayev alleged that during his tenure in the 6th Directorate of the USSR's KGB in 1987, Donald Trump, then a 40-year-old American businessman, was recruited under the code name Krasnov. Musayev further claimed that Trump's personal file is currently managed by a close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump has not directly responded to Musayev's claims. He doesn't really have to, because Comrade Trump is acting exactly like a Russian agent would, reluctant to criticize Putin, trying to weaken NATO, aligning with Russian disinformation campaigns to divide the United States from its allies, discrediting its normative power, human rights, the rule of law, democracy, altruism, and weakening US institutions to make further manipulation easier. So it appears from these claims that Trump has been, you know, some kind of agent, if not like someone with actual agency the entire time, in terms of, like, I am going to do this for Russia, but, you know, biased towards making these decisions, or Russia uses reflexive control in order to manipulate Trump to do things, knowing that they've got leverage over him and compromat on him, and then he has that in the back of his mind. And maybe sometimes when he meets Putin, it's overtly communicated. For example, that time when he went into the meeting with Putin in Helsinki in 2017, I think it was, and there was no one else but the translator, the Russian translator, and he comes out completely aligned to Putin. And then the GOP had to kind of roll some of that back, and he prioritized Putin's word over his own intelligence agencies. And you're thinking, okay, what explains that? He goes in on his own. Maybe Putin then said, you know, we've got this compromat on you, right? You know that. And then you're thinking, okay, maybe Trump's behavior is explained by that. But I'm not sure. You know, it all sounds very, not quite conspiratorial, but yeah, how reliable is Musayev is something that we must ask. Now, he is, I believe, a Kazakh politician now, and the latest in this domain is pretty striking. So this is coming from News. News is it's owned by Empire Media. Used to be owned by News Corp, actually, News. And their staff team put this together. Putin has a compromat file on Trump, says ex-KGB agents. And it's somewhat more, you know, inflammatory than that. So President Donald Trump is at the mercy of Russian President Vladimir Putin, because the foreign leader has extensive, meticulously documented evidence of crimes committed by the American businessman. A former KGB agent has claimed Putin is said to be using his top secret intel to keep Trump on a tight leash. And this is from 2 days ago. So Kazakh politician points to evidence. Alnur Musayev, a Kazakh politician and former KGB intelligence officer, said Putin possesses a comprehensive compromat file on Trump that he regularly threatens to release unless Trump follows his directives. Musayev made the explosive accusation that Putin has audio and video recordings of crimes and acts of violence against women attributed to Trump. The Kompromat also reportedly includes financial records of illicit transactions tied to accounts owned by or affiliated with Trump. There are also allegedly statements from Russian operatives who can corroborate the claims if and when necessary. So, according to Closer to the Edge editor-in-chief Rook T. Winchester, Putin uses a file as leverage and blackmail. Quote, Russia has deliberately leaked fragments of the Kompromat not to expose Trump publicly, but to exert pressure on him, Winchester wrote. The goal is strategic, ensure Trump remains aligned with Russian geopolitical interests. That, end quote. That includes undermining NATO, destabilizing the European Union, and pressuring Ukraine to surrender to Russia. Quote, when Trump hesitates or veers from Russia's interests, Russia lets just enough out to remind him who's holding the leash, Winchester wrote. It's not chaos, it's design, and the person benefiting from that design is Vladimir Putin. There is apparently little Trump can do to bury the files, as Putin isn't interested in money and is said to cherish the leverage he has over his US counterpart. Quote, the allegations suggest that the American presidency is compromised at its core, Winchester wrote. Not just politically, operationally, that the person issuing executive orders, appointing judges and influencing global conflict zones may be doing so under foreign pressure. The only reason Trump hasn't been exposed is because Putin doesn't want him exposed, he wants him useful. And then it goes back to talk about Musayev recruiting him back in 1987 and whatnot. And you can go and find all that information out elsewhere. But pretty incredible stuff here from Musayev. So you're starting to see things like Al-Nur Musayev. Putin has video of Trump sexually assaulting minors. And Musayev is a former high-ranking official in the government of the Kazakhstan, best known for his 2 tenures as a chairman of the National Security Council, the KGB, and the country's principal intelligence agency. So he's no small fry, right, this chap. But yeah, I think you're going to start seeing this a little bit, to be perfectly honest, on some, some handles online, on the socials. But I don't know how well evidenced this is, if it's evidence enough for mainstream media to pick it up, and is this just a hit job on Trump? So, take it all with a massive pinch of salt. But Astraya Intel here says, breaking, Kazakh KGB officer Al-Nur Musayev, quote, Putin has in his possession video of Trump sexually assaulting minors. So this is, something to add into the mix. And the problem for Trump is claims like these really very well align with reality, with Trump's behavior, right? So Trump's behavior is best explained, I think, by some kind of compromise, because he so consistently chickens out of doing anything hard on Russia, and so consistently helps Russia and not Ukraine, as in helps Russia by wanting to lift sanctions, helps Russia by not giving further aid to Ukraine and only selling it, helps Russia by, X, Y, and Z. The list is very long. And it's, you otherwise have to do all this kind of mental gerrymandering to try and get Trump to understand Trump doing all of these things. And it's like Elbridge Colby and the Heritage Foundation, which I think is certainly the case, at least as well. But it's how far do these Kompromat claims really go, and how much can we trust someone like Musayev? But anyway, that is a claim that is coming out at the moment. If you go and do a internet search here, we've got from last week basically Substacks talking about this. Ex-KGB official claims Putin has a secret blackmail file on Trump, Kompromat or its echo. USSA News, Putin has Kompromat file on Trump, says ex-KGB agent. But none of this spy talk, none of this has been hitting the mainstream media outlets at all. So it's, the provenance of these claims is obviously highly dubious. But just throw that out there and into the mix. Be interested to see what you guys think about that. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.